people's lives are naturally integrated. If we're going to put students and families at the center of our work also has to be integrated. This means that if we're trying to help kids succeed in school, we're trying to make sure that they're graduating all the way down to being kindergarten ready. We also need to be paying attention to all of the other elements that are just naturally in their lives. In the populations that we work with, there are many other elements that are filtering through these kids and these families' lives. So we're also having to pay attention to health, to poverty, to income, to family stability. And so in order to make sure that we're living up to the promise that we made these families and these kids around graduating from high school and all of the other outcomes, we really do need to be paying attention to all of the various elements. United Way of Salt Lake works within what we call promise partnerships. They are geographically based in neighborhoods of high need and high poverty. They are naturally integrated because we are working with school districts and schools, we're working with other educational entities, we're working with health systems and health partners, as well as family stability and income community partners. A community school is a trusted location for students and their families. The students are obviously already there at the school because of their education. And we like to think of a community school versus a traditional school using a metaphor around telephones. So a traditional school is somewhat like a rotary telephone. A rotary telephone does one thing well: it makes a phone call. A traditional school does one thing well: it teaches kids. A smartphone does many things well. It works with communication in various ways. It will tell you, give you nutrition advice and tell you how to cook a meal. It will connect you in many ways to different people. It will help you with your finances, etc., depending on the apps that you put on it. So we like to think of a community school as more like a smartphone, that yes, it does the one thing well, it does make good phone calls, but it also allows you to access health information and to get help there and to look at finances, etc. And so at our community schools, we work very closely with the schools in the district, the teachers, the administration, the social workers, to make sure that the academics are as high a grade as they possibly can be. We are not educational experts, but we bring in other educational experts if that is what the school would like. We bring in mentors and tutors. And after school programs, et cetera. And then we also bring in health services. If a student, for example, is struggling in school because of behavioral health reasons, we're able to connect those students to behavioral health services. The family has access to health services that are delivered directly at the school. Same thing with some family stability elements. We have some caseworkers who work with around housing and other family stability elements, if that's what the family needs. And all of those elements add up eventually and in different ways for each family to improved academic achievement for those children. The target population that we work on is high poverty. Many of the schools, most of the schools are Title I schools, and if not Title I, they are Title I eligible. The free and reduced rate, lunch rate, tends to be between 65% and 95% in the schools where we work. Salt Lake area is also a refugee resettlement location, and so many of our schools have over 30 languages spoken, and these are kids and families who are coming in from all over the world, who their background and their previous lives have at times been very complex, and so there are a lot of things that they're getting used to as they're coming to the United States and trying to understand the school system, trying to understand the health system. And so we're working with them both on individual levels as well as population levels to really help them make the most of their education here in the United States. Key partners that we work with, I mentioned school districts. Obviously, the specific schools within those districts are very strong partners. We have full-time staff, United Way of Salt Lake staff, who are in many of our schools. They act on behalf of the districts, and so they are part of the school team. We also have a full-time staff member who is based in one of our school districts' data team. So we have direct access to much of the individual identified data that allows us to really dig into data and try to understand the whys behind what's going on and what the data is showing. Many other partners at different levels include delivery partners, so they're on the ground actually delivering health services or mentoring or tutoring or case management, etc. We also have systemic partners. Our regional council is made up of the CEOs and the executive directors of many systems within our community. So whether it's Department of Workforce Services, Department of Health, various superintendents, both from the state education department as well as different districts, community colleges, business leaders, many of the top decision makers in our communities come around the table once a quarter to talk about the promised partnerships and how we can move forward together. So at that level, we're very integrated as well. Working in an integrated fashion allows us to serve the families and do what they need in order for them to progress, as opposed to doing what we would like to do or what we think is the right thing to do. When you separate education from health and health from income, you're creating barriers to the success of the families as opposed to breaking those barriers down. Many times families face so many barriers in their day-to-day life, whether it's housing instability, job training, healthcare, poor academic achievement. Fixing only one of those problems, it might make an element of their life simpler for a moment, but it's not going to change their trajectory. So we really believe that working in an integrated fashion with partners from many different sectors and many different issue areas is really the only way that we are in the end going to be able to help these families get out of poverty from generation to generation.